Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramon, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I am so thrilled to have you join us today. We dedicate this podcast to exploring the idea of doing business, living life with a purpose, and approaching your work and your lives with a servant's heart is your purpose, because you can truly make a difference. We created this show because we want everyone to be motivated, inspired, and educated to make an impact in your world. Imagine if half the world did that, how much better place this would be. And the key word is your. My guest today is going to blow you guys away. This guy does so many things, from faith to money to taking care of people. Powerful, powerful guest today. So make sure you take your pad and paper out and take some notes. But while you're listening to him today, think about how you're going to serve today, not only someone else, but yourself. Somebody told me in a couple shows ago, hey, we need to talk about serving each other, ourselves first, because you can't be a servant's heart if you don't take care of yourself first. So work on that and then serve other people and make an impact that you can create today. Today's a key word. This show is going to be about 25 minutes. Well, guess what? You're going to have half the day to go serve and create some impact today. Or if you have to do it tomorrow, but just do it. And with that being said, I'm so excited that we're sponsored by our incredible partner, Pantheon Alliance. Imagine being part of a community of high-income, successful business owners and entrepreneurs as well from diverse industries. And together we're building a thought leader platform to impact and change the world. So you want more information about this community, reach out to me and I'll get you all the information you need. And from that, let's talk about impact. My guest has gone from pastor to a franchise consultant. I want you to think about that for a minute. Talk about a guy really serving so many different people. This is the guy. William, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve. It's a delight to be here. It really is. I've been looking forward to it.
How do you do that's a tough day to me. Well, not tough, but interesting day. Part of your day is going to be helping people with franchises. The other part of the day is pastoring people, being pastoral and helping people with faith. How do you balance that?
They're more similar, in my opinion, than you think. I mean, I think at the core of both the guides is relationships, is listening. Mm-hmm. Listening to, let's just say as a franchise consultant, you really have to listen. My objective is not to sell or to be a sales pitch, but to listen of how fit could possibly be and work as a liaison with that. And that's how I look at myself as a pastor, to listen, to find the best needs for parishioner through discernment. The only difference is that with pastoring is that you have a little bit more leeway to be a little bit more spiritual, specifically to use the word God and Jesus and those type of aspects in those conversations. And franchise consultant, I'm respective of all religions, interfaiths. So I'm not in any way, I'm not ashamed to be a preacher in all aspect or a pastor, but I don't wear the cape as much in franchise consulting. So that's the only difference. But really the key of listening is so important in building relationships and really just wanting the best for a parishioner or a client.
I love that you said that. That's why I love having great guests, because as a host, I get to learn as well. You're right. You got to listen on both. It's just different ways of listening or listening for different things. Right. I love that, because audience, that's $1 million tip. If you just learn to listen and just do that, you're 80% ahead of the game. Seriously, I've done that, and podcasting helps. So it's powerful. I want to talk about your book. We talked about it in the green room before the show. You talk about labor Discuss what your thoughts are on labor and history.
Yeah, I have two books. One focuses on African American entrepreneurship and franchising, but one is talking about leveraging franchising, and what it does pretty much. It comes from a lecture that I've done about the history of franchising, basically from understanding labor, where it comes from uh, various periods in history. Just to give you general, that the postmodern movement began in 1987. Some people say about 87, where before 1987, we never would have thought that we'd be able to be on Zoom and do a podcast. At best, we would have to record in the studio. I remember when I first went to Disney World in 1984, they said that in the future, maybe in 20, 30 years, we'll be able to connect and talk to people in Japan just as we're talking to people here. I remember my father first went to the Holy Land in 1980. And I mean, it was a big deal when he called. He was there for 3 weeks, and then we could barely hear him. We felt like he was 8,000 miles away. So in this day and time, I'm talking to you. I have done calls with people literally today in India and other places. So who would have thought, prior to 1987 that we'd be able to do that? Who would have thought that even now that we're able to write prompts and somebody can write a script or something better than we could at working for 5 to 6 days? So that's what I traced to show the revolutionary aspects historically of the printing press, which, from 1500 to 1800, the Industrial Revolution, the cotton gin, even talk about labor and slavery and those aspects. And then we talk about the technological revolution that really took hold around 1987, Apple and all of that. And now artificial intelligence and how that can affect how we look at franchising. I give you an example. One franchise that I'm very into is robotics. It's called Robot Lab. It is so sure about the possibilities of robotics and artificial intelligence. They have a guarantee. They guarantee clients that they will be successful. They put their money. So that's how the changing shape, and that's what my book is talking. I'm a historian at heart. African Americans in franchising is more of a biographical of talking about certain persons who are African American who had the spirit of entrepreneurship, even franchising. One basketball player to me who was pivotal in this, and you can read about him, is called Spencer Hayward. Spencer Hayward was not necessarily the greatest basketball player like a Magic Johnson, but his impact in the business world, he owned about 60 Wendy's, and he helped show how franchising can generate wealth. So that's the connection.
Well said. Why are you so passionate about franchising? You kind of got into a little bit, but somebody listening is going, I thought about a franchise. What makes you so excited about it?
When I first used to think about the word franchise, I used to think it was hospitality. McDonald's, Wendy's, I heard the word loosely, but I really didn't understand what it was. I didn't understand that it was something that was connected to real estate, that it will be able to even create generational wealth. How I learned about it is that I bought a franchise, and it was done through, now I look back on it, fraudulently. The person was not connected to the franchise. And from that situation allowed me to understand, and I didn't want people to go through that, to do it in a more ethical way. So that's what got me into it, the ethics of franchising. And then I learned it's really an industry. I even dabbled in real estate, and I still do that, but I realized my true passion is definitely in franchising and understanding the dynamics of it and how it could definitely, with the right fit, can generate the right situation and even wealth. For instance, a lot of people, when they think of franchise, I'm guilty of, they think of McDonald's, they think of Wendy's and Hardee's, but there's so many great home-based franchising that allows you to make money, do some of the things that you're doing in the workplace, but also it gives you more time with your family. Also, I understand you're afraid of the investment, and you say, well, I don't want to give up a $400,000 a year job. So what I've learned is to help you in that transition. Keep your job. Get started with the franchise. I will help you. I will help identify the general manager and those things. And then once you're comfortable in making that transition where you can see that it's scalable and all that, then you can move in your own pace to career transition into franchise.
That's powerful. Because that's one of the big things about franchises. Because the people making a lot of money are ones that can afford a franchise, but they don't know what they're doing. You don't have to recreate the wheel with you. I've got the wheel here, jump on it. Like I always say, you don't want your mechanic doing heart surgery on you.
Right, exactly.
Ever. So you don't want to jump into a franchise without having some expert like you jumping in. So with franchising, how important is the authentic relationships with them, with your clients?
You know, it's important because you're the first contact with them. And, you know, you want to, as a good person who's selling, I try to explain to them the process about, I don't get paid, but I also am honest that I have a relationship with franchisors, and I explain to them what a franchisor is and what a franchisee is. So first of all, I want to start off being honest of where I am. And really, though, in all honesty, the person who really sells or their contact eventually is the one that I shepherd them or commend them to, which I feel is a good fit. But they're not isolated with it. It's not forced. They are very much involved in the process of giving the go-ahead to say, I've read the information. I feel comfortable. This sounds like me. I like to explore it. Give me an introduction. So it's never forced. They have the right to say, no, this doesn't sound like me. You heard me wrong, or those things. So I think it's important because building trust, which takes time, takes relationships, and sometimes you're not going to establish that invaluable trust. Somebody is going to share with me at most what they're comfortable with, their financial situation. And you know how people are very cautious to give you their financial situation because there's so many people who can twist it and look at it and for the wrong reasons. So, it's really something that requires conversation and trust, and it's good to see that. And it doesn't happen all the time. You got to realize that the yield is great, where you might have a great repertoire with someone, but they might not have the finances, or vice versa. They have the finances, but they've been burned a couple of times. So, but you have to just love it so much. That's why I love the analogy in the Bible where is used a fisherman. A fisher of humanity is a person who loves fishing so much. They love it so much that if they get 2 fish or no caught, or if they get 500, they still leave out at 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning the same way they did. It's not based on the mass, it's based on the passion. I did a sermon last week about the sower. And the sower, it says that even with the sower being meticulous, I believe he was a professional sower, that it still hit on rocky ground. It withered away, but it's just that's how it is in franchising. That's how it is with people you meet, and it ultimately humbles you because it's a greater source than who you are. The very time that you're discouraged, you haven't got a franchise sale in 100 people, is the very person who pops up and says, I'm ready to get a franchise, and you can do it within 3 weeks. Is that random?
No, and that's so powerful. And that's a great lesson for the audience, that it's okay if they say no, and it's okay because it's about them. It's not about you, William, which I love you saying that. Hey, here's a McDonald's. Well, you know what? I don't like what Ray Kroc, I'm just making this up. I don't like the owner, the founder of that. I want to look for something different. And then you keep feeding to them opportunities until it fits, and you make sure it fits instead of just trying to sell them just to sell them to make an almighty dollar.
That's right.
So real estate, somebody hears that buzzer, you mentioned that. What's a tip for somebody that wants to dive into real estate?
Real estate has proven that 85% is the greatest investment that you do. It's been my greatest investment. My house that I purchased 11 years ago has quadrupled in value. So it's been my best investment. So real estate in itself is powerful. In franchising, you buy the real estate. I mean, that's why, you see the McDonald's, if you will, that don't have the playlands and stuff, but they have almost integrated with society to look more corporate so they can be more places. Starbucks is very meticulous of having corner lots. So it's real estate based. Franchising is real estate based. And real estate, we have a real estate group, and my brother-in-law has a construction team. This is very, very much relationship based. So real estate is a different dynamic, and it's a beautiful dynamic, but to me it's a little bit more transactional as opposed to relational, especially now with the new NAR rules. And if you're familiar with that, is that you have to generally the gentleman's rule was, maybe 3% buyers, 3% sellers, but now you can negotiate, probably more than likely if you down negotiate, it's gonna be less than that. So so what can happen, what I predict, are those who have relationships with clients and the sphere of influence will do fine. But some of the newer real estate agents, they may be lost in the wind because they don't have that type of relationship equity, and they might get discouraged with the very small pie of the commission.
Yeah, I love the
Smaller pie.
relation. Yeah, no, I love the relation of equity because that's what real estate's all about. If you're a realtor out there listening to William, you better be building relationships. You're not selling homes.
Yeah,
Build that
true.
relationship, and that's why you're so successful in that part of your life. So people are listening, William, and they're like, he just sold me on franchises. I'm now interested. What would be their first step into this journey of franchising?
The first step is to not just be it's other, because let's have a conversation. I want to hear your story. I want to hear your journey, and then from there to see if business ownership in general, or I also specialize in helping you for what you're already doing to franchising your business that you already have, and to build upon that. You might not have to buy a fresh franchise. So I love to hear stories. I love to hear people, because I learn from them just as we learn from each other. And then we can just talk and then share common sojourners. It could even be our kids or what have you, baseball or something that's a commonality that can build relationships. And you never know, it could fruition 2 years later. So, or 3 years, or if you think about doing it in the future. So I would say, let's just learn from each other. Hear your story. Are you in transition? Are you thinking about transition? And how maybe franchising or business in general can be a good fit as you move forward.
Good point, because 8-to-5ers are nothing wrong with this. That's a good place for you. You're not business ownership is not a fit. Entrepreneurship's not a fit, and that's okay. Just don't jump into it because your brother says you'd be a great realtor. Right. In 2 years, you don't sell anything. And guess what? And by the way, if you do that, don't keep your other job. I mean, keep your other job until, like you said, until things go. And it's funny, you talk about baseball. I've never admitted this on the podcast, but as a 20-year-old, I wanted to buy a sports franchise.
Yeah.
That was my goal. And I might happen someday. I don't know, but I always thought that was cool. I don't know why, but I'd just be able to do that. And so in this journey of franchises, what's something they shouldn't do, or the challenge?
I think the challenge is with human nature of knowing how, and this could be just a realtor or anything. We're human beings where you want to sell if somebody is pre-qualified, and we don't do pre-qualifications before knowing this, but let's say if somebody's pre-qualified in real estate for $2 million, you want to sell, because it's commission based, someone as high as you can because it affects your commission. But in reality, the $900,000 house might be the best one for them. Yeah. It might be the best bargain. They can save their money. You've heard the fact that they have a 16-year-old who probably went to college and those sort of things. So it's the ethics behind it. In your mind, you say, well, this franchise will give me blah, 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 as opposed to this is not as high of a broker's commission. I want to sell this one. So it's to really, I think that's the biggest challenge, is to really at the heart, try to find the best fit or the best people that can be a good team to support them, both and but also to try to know that at the core you want the best for the client, even if it's not the check that you're looking for.
No, I like that you said that, because it always should be best for the client. I don't care what it is. They
Yeah.
could be your worst client, always lifting them, bringing them
Right.
value, being a servant to them. So let's flip it, William. Somebody's out there going, I have a franchise, I got to get out. It was a wrong decision. It's 2 years in. We're struggling. Do you work with people like that too?
Yeah, I have some partners now that are willing to do that, to help
Okay.
help you with even though I'm in the first stages of that, but yeah, to resell it, to look into ways to get out. Yes.
And even to talk to you going, maybe they're, because when you're in the middle of something, as you know, and I know, your perspective is different than you outside looking in. Maybe
Right.
this is the right opportunity. So you would actually talk to them about that too, to see, hey, why you want to sell? Why do you want to get out? Let's see if maybe you're just doing something wrong to uplift this business.
Yeah, absolutely. I think at that point, that's where the franchisor can offer that support, because they know
Okay.
the franchise better. And at that point,
Gotcha.
where me as a broker, I'm more of a liaison. So the franchisor who helped with the transaction can be best probably suited for solutions. But I'd be glad to help as best I can.
Yeah.
But I think that's where it'll be at the point, because they know the business better. They know the franchise.
Exactly. And that's a great, I'm glad you said that, because now I know too. Somebody asked me, go to your franchisor, because I don't want people calling you, reaching out to you, like, when they can just reach the franchisor and have that solved.
Yes.
Which is good. You just gave them a great resource. So we're coming to the end here, but you have a very diverse academic background. I love it. How does that help you with the franchising?
I think that just to know a lot of things, and just in general, whether it's related to, as you said, baseball, which is my favorite, or a plethora of things. What makes me think, I mean, you say with my degrees in church history or pastoral care, which are invaluable, pastoral care, enlisting and counseling and consulting, but me learning about Martin Luther, John Calvin, is that helpful in franchising? Not necessarily. But I'm reminded of this. Ben Carson, the neurosurgeon, right? The famous neurosurgeon, right? So he tells a story of about trying to get a prestigious fellowship at Johns Hopkins, I think, after medical school, to be one, in their I know what it is, their residency program, right? I think 2 out of 500 gets in. And one of the persons who were in the committee talked about a pianist like Beethoven or something that he knew in detail about it.
Wow.
And they could have a conversation about it. And he really believes that's what got him over. It wasn't his resume, because everybody had great resumes. It was that. It was the fact that they connected, and that person saw the diversity of not him as a surgeon or potential surgeon with potential, is the fact that he had just Renaissance knowledge, or broad knowledge of certain things. And I think that's so important.
Wow.
And building relationships.
Yeah.
And I think that's where those connections can take place, whether it's through spirituality, with baseball, whether my 6-year-old daughter, and try to find those organically. And that has been, I think, the key to success, whether it's in franchising, whether it's in ministry, or just meeting someone at the store today that I have maybe have a connection with.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Ben's talking about being relatable. He was relatable to the people he's talking to. Oh my God. Like, we had baseball, and when we first met, we were talking baseball. We became relatable because we had that topic. If you're not relatable, that's okay. It probably wasn't meant to be anyways. And that's okay. There was other opportunities for him. So we're coming to the end here. I'd like to end with this great question. So you've got a reservation at a restaurant for a table of 4. Of course, you're going to sit in one chair. In the other 3 chairs, Dead or alive, who would you invite, why, and what food would you order?
Oh, that's a great question. I would invite my favorite politician, probably Maynard Jackson, who was the junior, who was the first mayor of Atlanta. I would invite St. Francis of Assisi.
Big one.
And I would invite Elizabeth Warren.
What a table. What are we eating?
Maynard Jackson, one of his favorite things he enjoyed eating was ice cream. So definitely array of ice cream. Elizabeth Warren mentioned that she had a meeting one time with the old fellow. She wasn't a senator then; she was with the FCC. But she had a hamburger, so I would order. And hamburger is one of my favorite foods. So just because it's sophisticated, I'll probably order steak. I like steak, so I probably wouldn't do a hamburger. Steak, ice cream as dessert, great ice cream. And to be true to St. Francis and nature, I would probably have something that would be very vegetarian, such as a salad with cranberries and those sort of things. So a nice steak, wonderful vegetables from nature, and ice cream. And probably just to show respect to St. Francis, probably have a dog or something or animal in the midst.
There you go. I love it. What a great table. You know, William, you've been a blessing today. You're so awesome. You're a rock star. You really are a servant's heart in the franchise and face space. And I love meeting the first time, and today, the second time, even better. I got to know a little bit about you. How can people support you, reach out to you, or connect with you?
Yeah, thank you so much, Steve. It's been a blessing. You have such a spirit. I would be surprised if you speak it because you have anointed on your life. Yeah, I can be reached at WFlippin, FLIPPIN, WFlippin, FLIPPIN, at the Franchise Consulting Company. That's all one word, at the Franchise Consulting Company.com.
Yeah, and we'll put that in the show notes too. And your website, I think, will go there as well. And, you know, audience, he didn't, Flippin is his name. I know franchises, you flip franchises. It's just a fluke, just how his life went. So I love that. Just wanted to mention that. Again, thank you. And audience, do me a favor, comment on the YouTube channel, this show. And if there's comments for William, I'll get them to him. If you need to connect with him, you can't find his different, reach out to me and I'll connect you. Because especially if you're thinking about a franchise, here's a way to go. He's going to compliment you, sit down with you and figure out if this is really a way to go and what options you really have. And he's got all the incredible resources. So I can't find a better way and a better way of connecting with him. Also, to subscribe to the podcast, because guess what? You get to listen to William again and again, because there's so many great pieces of advice he gave you that you don't pick it all up the first time you listen to it. Or some of my incredible guests that are just like William, that are really inspiring, motivating, and educating you. So jump on and share it with your family or friends. Anybody you know interested in franchising, here's the podcast for you right here. He's my first consultant in franchises in my 500 shows. So this is the guy you want to talk to. And as always, I want to thank you for watching. Me and William want to thank you for watching or listening to this podcast. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.